Everyone, please welcome the 2024 American Academy of Nursing Living Legends. Mathy E. Mezey. Faye A. Gary. Julie A. Fairman. Rita K. Chow. Suzanne B. Bakken. And your hosts tonight, President of the American Academy of Nursing, Linda Scott, and President-elect, Deborah Barksdale.
So, good evening again. I am delighted to be joined now by Dr. Deborah Barksdale, the Academy's President-elect. Okay. To help showcase the impressive milestones made by each of our living legends. This year's Living Legends exemplifies the Academy's values of equity, diversity, inclusivity, inquiry, integrity, and courage. These visionary individuals have generated policy change through innovative thinking, scientific pursuit, and adept leadership to ensure that meaningful healthcare change is influenced by nursing expertise. Tonight, we celebrate their work, which serves as an inspiration to all of us. From advancing the health of the public while also working to modernize nursing in an ever-changing environment, they envisioned transformation, embraced it, and made it happen. You will feel inspired hearing about the life's work of Dr. Suzanne Bakken, Rita Chow, Julie Fairman, Faye Gary, and Mathy Mezey.
The American Academy of Nursing's Living Legend designation is not simply given to a remarkable individual, but is a lasting recognition that solidifies those incredible leaders as change makers. Living legends have advanced health equity in challenging times, innovated when a solution was needed, and just as critically mentored other nurses to use their voice to transform the way care is delivered and received. Their contributions lay the critical groundwork for future studies, new technology, and creativity in the profession. Thank you again to our generous sponsors, Cedars Sinai, and the American Nurses Association. Yes. Thank you again for helping to make this evening a memorable event for us all.
I would like to call your attention to an important milestone. The American Academy of Nursing has been designating living legends for 30 years. In honor of the designation's anniversary, I would like you to hear from the originator of the recognition, Dr. Angela McBride, past president of the Academy and living legend herself.
Really was struggling with the notion of how do you keep all generations together, and particularly to get individuals who might now be older coming back to meetings, say after they retired, and feeling welcome there. And struggling with this, we decided to create the designation of living legend. Every time I go to the living legend ceremony, I'm always struck with the range of what nursing is, because the stories typically are different. Everyone has made a major contribution, but the way they did it, each one is different from the other.
Let us take a moment to recognize these living legends over the past 3 decades. I would also like to pause and recognize 2 living legends that passed away this year, Drs. Claire Fagan and Beatrice Kalish. We honor all of the Academy living legends who are no longer with us. We know these leaders live on through those they mentored and the lives they touched. They have impacted lasting change, and we are grateful for their vision to advance the nursing profession. Please join me in recognizing their contributions. It is now time to recognize this evening's changemakers for our profession. It is my pleasure to introduce tonight's first 2024 Living Legend, Dr. Suzanne Bakken. Dr. Suzanne Bakken is a renowned expert in informatics. She is a professor of biomedical informatics and alumni professor of nursing at Columbia University School of Nursing. Dr. Bakken's research focuses on the use of information and communication technologies and informatic processes to advance health equity. A sought-after researcher, speaker, prolific publisher, and mentor, Dr. Bakken's holistic view of data's potential to revolutionize clinical practice has led her to consult globally. Dr. Bakken is an exemplary nurse scientist. She was the inaugural principal investigator of the first informatics T32 grant. Funded by the National Institute of Nursing Research, Reducing Health Disparities Through Informatics is now in its 22nd year. Which demonstrates her steadfast commitment to addressing issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility through informatics. Dr. Bakken is currently the only nurse serving as a PI in the National Institutes of Health Rapid Acceleration of Diagnostics for Underserved Populations Initiative. As scientists, we know the critical importance of establishing trust with the public. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Bakken led efforts to develop a visualization toolkit of culturally congruent health messages to combat misinformation related to the COVID-19 vaccine and testing hesitancy. Dr. Bakken's impact on terminology and standards is enduring. She has served as a reviewer for multiple reports and on several influential committees, such as the Committee on Data Standards for Patient Safety, Committee on Return of Individual-Specific Results Generated in Research Laboratories, as well as the Committee on the Review of Adoption and Implementation of Health Information Technology Standards by the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology. We are living in a digital era with technology use and influence in every aspect of our life. especially in relationship to our health. Dr. Bakken has been at the forefront of technology and data science well before the digital era. In fact, she was recognized in 2006 by the American Medical Informatics Association with the Virginia K. Saba Award, who happened to be an Academy Fellow too. Another fun fact, Dr. Saba was named a living legend in 2002. Yes, I think we should applaud that. Dr. Bakken currently serves as editor-in-chief of the Journal of the American Medical Informatics Association. Notably, in the journal's announcement regarding Dr. Bakken's appointment, it was mentioned that in her new role, she would imbue JAMIA with the spirit of consequentialist informatics, informatics that makes a difference in the real-world health challenges facing communities and society today, such as opioid addiction, Alzheimer's disease, and caregiving burden. Let's hear more about her trailblazing work from one of Sue's sponsors.
I met Sue Bakken almost 35 years ago. We became fast friends and incredibly good work colleagues and have had 35 years of helping to shape a field and to grow nursing together. Very early in the 1990s, Sue grasped the understanding that being able to label the challenges that patients experience and the words that nurses use to characterize those was a critical step not only in ensuring continuity of patient care, but also in making sure that the knowledge base of nursing could grow in a systematic way. Throughout her career, Sue has recognized that her efforts alone are not enough to accomplish what she wants to accomplish. So she engages colleagues across disciplines, she engages with patients to create the solutions that will serve the needs of the future. In addition to that, though, she brings a curiosity about new ideas, new ways to address things that make sure that everything that she does actually leads to the next step of what needs to be done. Her work in engaging patients now has become a national model for how to help return genomic results to patients, how to return laboratory results to patients. Her ability to train young people in biomedical informatics, data science, nursing informatics has inspired me to understand where disciplinary training in nursing is essential and where interdisciplinary training in biomedical informatics is the right pathway for a nurse. Sue deserves to be a living legend of the American Academy of Nursing because she managed to take a very esoteric, specialized knowledge base, formal terminologies, and translate it into a powerful basis for understanding patient needs, developing principled nursing interventions, and ensuring that the technologies that we build will meet the needs of society.
Dr. Bakken, would you please join me at the podium?
So today is the 97th anniversary of my father's birth in a Norwegian farming community in North Dakota. Like many of your parents, once you stopped taking care of patients, your parents were probably very confused about what it was you're doing. And that was true for my father. I remember him asking my mother, if Suzanne is so smart, why is she still in school? The last time I talked about a legend in a speech was actually my father's eulogy, which was 22 years ago. And I did that because he died the same week as legendary country musician Johnny Cash. And so I really thought about what makes a man a legend. And I decided it was really context. Everyone's a legend to someone. And this thought has been confirmed by the tortured poet, Taylor Swift, who says, if you can see it at a glance, it's legendary. Anyway, so why all of us are legends to someone, a few of us get the opportunity to be a living legend of the American Academy of Nursing, which provides us a platform for really talking about, thinking about, and promulgating what the things that we are passionate about. So for me, informatics was never about the technology. It was about my strong belief in the power of nursing and the influence that we have on patients' lives and as they go through their transitions, the impact that we have on health equity. Tonight, I'm joined by two nurses in family. So my daughter, Tanya Sherman, who's a baby catcher in Brooklyn, and my niece, Allison Bakken, Middlestad. So when I think about these types of things, it's really important. It's important that we embrace AI, data science, et cetera, whatever you're calling it, because we want to make sure that Allison and Tanya and the 3.5 million nurses in the US and beyond are able to do what they do best by really augmenting their reach and their impact with this. I want to, in disclosure about use of AI, I did not consult ChatGPT for any aspect of the speech except for the 3.5 million registered nurses. In closing, I want to thank my nominators, informatics giants, Roy Simpson and Patty Brennans, and everyone knows that giants are bigger than legends. Living legend, Elaine Larson. These people have been just friends and colleagues for decades. Also joining me tonight was my PhD mentor, Bill Holzemer, and he has been supporting me for 40 years. It's hard to believe. I'm also joined by long-term friends and colleagues, and by my fabulous colleagues from lots of mentees who are with me tonight as well, and they are continuing to do incredible research. I'm joined by my colleagues from the Columbia School of Nursing, who continue to advance our social justice mission and what they do every day with their patient care, their research, and education. And lastly, I just want to thank the vibrant nursing informatics community who have been a long source of support and nourishment to me, and to say living legend Virginia K. Sava, living legend Angel, I know she's smiling tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Our next living legend to highlight this evening is Dr. Rita K. Chow. It is an absolute honor to share with you Dr. Rita Chow's expansive and boundary-spanning body of work, which began in the 1950s when she completed her Bachelor of Science from Sanford University Nursing School as a first-generation Chinese-American student. Dr. Chow is a testament to the incredibly diverse and wide-ranging opportunities that exist in nursing. She is currently the Senior Volunteer Fellow at the National Council on Aging and has held numerous titles with different organizations throughout the course of her career. Dr. Chow's through line has always been her dedication to helping society's most vulnerable, which has ranged from prisoners, especially older prisoners, individuals residing in nursing homes, cardiovascular and surgical patients in intensive care units, those with Hansen's disease hospitalized in leprosariums to communities served through the United States Indian Health Services. In 1965, Dr. Chow directed an innovative cardiovascular nursing research project at The Ohio State University Hospital, one of the first to utilize closed-circuit television to record nurses' real-time actions and responsibilities in the ICU. This project served as the foundation for her nursing textbook, Cardiosurgical Nursing Care, Understanding Concepts and Principles of Practice, and is a precursor of many technology utilized in practice today. In an interview with UVA's School of Nursing regarding the project, Dr. Chow said, "I thought that if we could document what the nature of nurses is, then we would be able to teach it, to teach what should be done and the scientific reasons for that care," end quote. Evidence-based practice is at the core of Dr. Chow's legacy. Not only is Dr. Chow an early adopter of technology, she also pushed the envelope to implement innovative programs through the numerous federal positions she held. Dr. Chow served as an officer in the Army Nurse Corps and as an active, yes, she's amazing, and as an active duty United States Public Health Service Commission Corps officer for nearly 30 years, and she ultimately became deputy chief nurse. She served as a nurse supervisor and quality assurance coordinator at the Rosebud Lakota facility in South Dakota, a facility that had some of the worst health outcome statistics, where she diligently worked to improve conditions. Dr. Chow was the director of patient education and assistant director of nursing at Hansen's Disease Center in Carville, Louisiana. In this role, she worked with people suffering from leprosy and led programming for patients to improve their lives holistically by developing a music movement therapy program. Dr. Chow became the director of nursing in the Federal Bureau of Prisons in 1989, where she was the catalyst to establish the first long-term care facility for aging male federal prisoners in Fort Worth, Texas. Let's hear more about Rita. I know you're excited. We all are. Let's hear more about Rita's storied career from one of her sponsors.
First got to know Rita because of her work with leprosy. Well, they call it Hansen's disease. And I thought, isn't it really nice that she is the kind of person that champions people who are marginalized, and also because of her work with aging prisoners. She was a role model for me because I always like to say I grew up when bias was legal, and so did she, and yet coming from a different culture, she was able to make tremendous inroads in changing the quality of nursing care. She was in the Army, and she was assigned to the federal prison system. She's the one who helped them establish inmate-to-inmate hospice care. She also did some research, and she has a book out on cardiovascular diseases that is very popular. That's part of acute care and chronic care for people with heart disease. So I can't think of an area that she hasn't contributed to in nursing. She's an educator, she's an administrator, she's an artist, she's an author. She also has been in the community, working with churches. She has a high regard for spirituality. She took special courses in gerontology so that she could know more about gerontology. And she's been involved in the Gerontological Society, and she's a fellow there. And she just keeps on adding things to her resume. Someone said about her that her influence is wide and deep, and she keeps going. I really think the Academy of Nursing has done very well in recognizing living legends, and she certainly is a living legend. She's the epitome of how we should salute living legends.
Dr. Chow, could you join us at the podium for a few remarks?
Thanks very much. One's legacy is due to special opportunities by what our Native American friends call the Great Spirit. It's through faculties, some in this room, colleagues, some in this room, and friends that stick by you no matter what. It's through generativity. It's through inspiration that we give each other. It's with the real friendships that are lasting. It is the inspiration that we give each other. It is not failing because you're all alone. It provides wonderful new ideas because we reflect with each other. It is the alliance with each other that makes a difference. So it's love in its highest sense and equity for all. Thank you very much.
Next, I have the honor to recognize Dr. Julie Fairman as a living legend. Dr. Fairman is a prominent nurse historian whose work has been instrumental in advancing the scholarship of nursing history and shaping nursing's future. As she has said, history shapes nursing and healthcare practice and policy because it shows us what works, what doesn't, and how context shapes our thinking. Dr. Fairman's research focuses on 20th century healthcare issues, in particular, the history of health policy as it relates to competition, scope of practice, service models, and the history of technology. Dr. Fairman is an endowed chair, Nightingale Professor in honor of nursing veterans at the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing. Notably, under her leadership, the Barbara Bates Center for the Study of the History of Nursing at Penn Nursing became the preeminent center for scholarship in nursing history. Dr. Fairman's service as the center's director was critical in expanding the extensive archival collection of photographs, artifacts, and the personal and professional papers of leaders, clinicians, schools of nursing, nursing organizations, and other health centers. Importantly, she has focused on collecting the records of nursing's diverse history, such as those of the Mercy Douglas Hospital School of Nursing, a diploma school for Black nurses in Philadelphia, and minority nursing organizations, including the National Association of Hispanic Nurses, to recognize the contributions of nurses of color. An immensely talented writer and researcher, through her publications and books, Dr. Fairman has shined a light on the transformative power of nursing. Her award-winning book, Critical Care Nursing, A History, contributed to the development of the Federal Nurse Reinvestment Act of 2002. Her book, Making Room at the Clinic, Nurse Practitioners and the Evolution of Modern Healthcare, focused on the nurse practitioner movement, created an important platform for addressing policy, systemic, and professional barriers to advance nursing practice, and ultimately informed and reshaped state scope of practice regulations for NPs across the U.S. Dr. Fairman served as the Distinguished Nurse Scholar in Residence at the National Academy of Medicine, a program led by the American Academy of Nursing in conjunction with ANA and ANF, where she served as a historian and special consultant to NAM's seminal The Future of Nursing, Leading Change, Advancing Health report. The first recommendation from that pivotal report was to remove scope of practice barriers. A highly regarded academician, Dr. Fairman served as the director of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's Future of Nursing Scholars Program, which was designed to strengthen the PhD pipeline and help address the nursing faculty shortage and related issues. This important program supported 46 nursing schools and saw more than 200 PhD graduates. Let us hear more of her sizable impact from one of Julie's sponsors.
I've known Julie Fairman for a long time. She and I actually started together as assistant professors at Penn. Julie has had extraordinary impact as a historian, as a scholar, and as a policymaker. History is a series of choices and also context, and her works helps us understand both. She wrote a seminal paper illustrating how the Federal Trade Commission could be used to advance scope of practice. That's a seminal paper that's been used as a basis for policy at both the federal and the state level. You know, Julie inspires me like she inspires so many others, and I would say it's her generosity of spirit. She is a noted scholar, but she brings people along. She is selfless in the work and the critique that she provides others and works to support them moving forward. You know, Julie's contribution in nursing history goes beyond nursing. What she has been able to demonstrate that the history of nursing is the history of women. It's the history of women in the military. It's the history of activism. It's the history of civil rights. In addition, what Julie has done is to amplify the voices that have been absent from history, particularly the contributions of nurses and nurses of color. You know, what I think Julie would say, not just to young nurses, but I think to all of us, is that history matters. Is that, you know, we have many lessons to be learned. And if we don't keep that history front and center, we're likely to repeat the issues of the past. Julie deserves the Living Legend Award, not only for her individual contributions to history and to nursing, but because she has seeded this important work not only in this country, but throughout the world.
Thank you, Tony. That was really beautiful. I really appreciate that. First of all, I'd like to say I am so honored to be up on this platform with these distinguished women. It is truly, truly an honor to be here with you. I'd also like to thank the Academy. It really has been a touchstone for me throughout my career. It's provided a place for me to make connections and to participate in actual, real, important, impactful policy. And as Hillary Clinton says, it takes a village. And I have had an amazing village. I would like to thank my sponsors, Marla Salmon, Kathy Dracup, and Tony Villarreal. Marla and Tony and I would take walks very early in the morning at various meetings, and we've had wonderful conversations. Kathy Dracup I interviewed for my dissertation back in 1990 on critical care, and we have been in contact ever since. I think I would also like to mention a particular living legend who has gone before me, and that is Joan Linow. She's not here tonight, but I'd like to tell you that I was at a PhD information session, sat down next to her, and she wanted to know what I was doing. I said I was interested in adolescents who had end-stage renal disease, but what I really loved was history, but I knew I couldn't do a dissertation like that. And she said to me, well, why not? And the rest, as they say, was history. So my history colleagues have supported me throughout my career, particularly Patricia D'Antonio and Cindy Connolly, as well as Kathy Burke, Margot Brooks-Carthon, Anne-Marie McAllister, Laurie Glass, and Sandy Lewinson, all of whom have had great impact on our field. The Penn School of Nursing has been my intellectual home, and I'm really grateful for the colleagueship I found there. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has supported me many, many times, and I'm most proud of my leadership of the Future of Nursing Scholars Program. Many of over the 200 scholars from this program have been inducted into the Academy or will be inducted tomorrow night. This is a clear indication of a program that many said would fail. I'd like to thank Mary Joan Ladden and Sue Hassmiller for their partnership in this program. Now, members of my family are here tonight. My sister Ann, my mother, and I hope you don't mind I'm saying this, she's 90 and still playing pickleball, which gives me great hope. My sister-in-law, Shell, and my nephew, Evan, are here, and the most important people in my life are here, and those are my two sons and the love of my life, Ron, my husband. So all of those people have allowed me to do what I do and to succeed. And so to end, history matters. It helps us understand where we have been, where we are, and where we need to go. I have had the privilege and the joy of both being a steward and a leader in this field in advancing nursing's history and reshaping the field to synergize history, social justice, and health policy. Throughout my career, I have engaged other disciplines using history to show the critical importance of nursing. We face difficult times, but we have encountered some of these things before that are facing our profession and our global society: epidemics, wars, racism, just to name a few. History shows us how we have responded, or not, in the past and can do much better in the future. We cannot claim our power without a sense of who we are and where we have come from. History is the key to our identity as nurses. How we use that history to acknowledge our past and understand the present will help us determine our actions in the future. Thank you again.
Our next living legend to be honored this evening is Dr. Faye Gary. I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Faye Gary, a distinguished university professor Medical Mutual of Ohio Kent W. CAPT Chair, and Professor of Nursing for Vulnerable and At-Risk Persons at the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing at Case Western Reserve University. Dr. Gary's career, which spanned 5 decades, has always been driven by the core value of the nursing profession, humanistic care. She once stated in an interview with her alma mater, St. Xavier University, "Know that every human being should be respected and treated with the utmost dignity." That principle has been her North Star, informing her work. Dr. Gary has always seen the connection between mental health and physical health and the critical importance of preventive care and the inequities that exist that present barriers to accessing care. Dr. Gary's focus has consistently highlighted total well-being, mental, physical, and social determinants of health of marginalized populations. Her lifelong commitment to championing the diversity, equity, and inclusion is highlighted by her most recent book, A Population Health Approach to Health Disparities for Nurses, Care of Vulnerable Populations. Dr. Gary's steadfast commitment to psychiatric nursing with a distinct interest in child and adolescent mental health, health disparities, and domestic violence has made her a leader in the field. Dr. Gary was the executive consultant to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration's Ethnic Minority Fellowship Program for over a decade and served on its board of directors. Dr. Gary has also served on committees for the National Institute of Mental Health, the National Institute of Rural Health, and the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities, helping to steer national programming and policy. Dr. Gary's upbringing in the segregated South, growing up on a farm in rural Florida, helped her to shape her worldview, empathy, and understanding, which led her to complete her bachelor's degree in nursing and sociology at Florida A&M, a historically Black university, and pursue her master's degree despite many obstacles at St. Xavier University's first graduate degree program in psychiatric nursing. She went on to earn her doctorate from the University of Florida and since has taught, inspired, and mentored countless students. Dr. Gary's impact is demonstrated through her many contributions improving health policy, promoting social justice, and advancing health equity. In addition to her efforts in the U.S., Dr. Gary has consulted for ministries of health in several countries and served on the task force on ethics and professional conduct for the United Nations Commission on Refugees. Let's hear from one of Dr. Faye Gary's sponsors about her profound impact.
Dr. Faye Gary is my mentor. She is so lovely and likable. I mean, it's one thing to have everything, you know, the clinician, the scholarly, but then to be just a beautiful person, inside and out. What's not to like about Dr. Faye Gary? Faye has advanced the nursing profession and the positive influence on healthcare by being able to combine that clinical and that scholarly perspective. She's the one who figured out how to reach across from the nursing college to the medical college in terms of psychiatry, and she works with children, and there are more children who are in need of those services than ever before. And she is like a lighthouse in the darkness. Her gift to nursing, of her brilliance, of her commitment, of her love for the people that she serves, of finding ways to clear the pathway for others, for finding ways to understand that it takes strategic decision-making with daring ingenuity and showing that. She doesn't just say things. Faye demonstrates. And that's been her lifelong story. It doesn't matter whether you're a scholar or whether you're a clinician or whether you're a doctor or nurse or whoever you are. Faye could work across the entire spectrum as long as the outcome was about improving patient care. Faye deserves the honor of being named a living legend by the Academy because she's been a living legend for quite some time.
Good afternoon, and I'm a psychiatric nurse, so you will probably understand that I'm in a special mood state tonight. Thank you very much for acknowledging me as a living legend. For me, nursing has not always been kind. There have been many struggles, but I want to thank you and people like you who can look to the horizon and see what's not there. And in many ways, that is indeed what has happened to me, that despite growing up in the Jim Crow South, having every institution segregated, there was always someone who looked to the horizon and saw what others did not see. And you too have looked to the horizon with your students, with your patients, with your families, and you too have looked to the horizon and you've seen what's not there. And you've been able to concretize that and make opportunities for others. And for all of you, I thank you for that. I must also thank Dr. Mezey, who decided that I should come to Case Western Reserve University when I told I was not interested. And somehow, I ended up there 21 years ago, and I'm still there. I'd like to also thank my current dean, Dean Carol Musil, for her grace and for her leadership. But I also like to thank my alma mater, Florida A&M University, which was the only choice I had to become a nurse. I'd like to thank St. Xavier University in Chicago, where, in fact, I had applied to other schools, and because I'd grown up in the rural South and am indeed a Southern Black woman, that I could not possibly conceptualize as white nurses, and they could not take the risk and admit me to the universities. But St. Xavier University did, and I graduated with honors. For the University of Florida, that denied me admission because of the Jim Crow laws. After I had gotten a degree and returned home and was unemployed for a year because everyone had their colored nurse and didn't need me, I eventually got a job at the University of Florida where I worked for 30 years, and I became the coordinator of the psychiatric nursing program and had a joint appointment in the Department of Psychiatry. So it's a privilege to be a living legend. And for nurses and women and people like me and you, we must continue to fight for our rights. We should continue to acknowledge our own gifts. We must celebrate the contributions that we make to the world, to our families, to our students, and to others. We must do this with dignity, respect, and the acknowledgement that we will always be in a struggle. Sometimes we choose the struggles, and other times the struggles choose us. Whatever happens with you, in many ways, you will have the opportunity to look to the horizon and to see what's not there, what could be there, and how you can make a difference. Now, in my career, someone has always helped me to make a difference. And for those, I acknowledge and appreciate. And in your lives, I'm sure that you've also helped other people to make a difference in their lives and to encourage them to make a difference in other people's lives. All of you are here for a reason, and all of you have tremendous responsibilities with the advancement of science and also the advancement of service, of education, of policy across the lifespan. And we indeed are privileged to work with others. Ed Pellegrino, who was at the Kennedy School of Ethics, used to tell me, he said, Faye, you know that nurses and doctors have privileges that no one on earth has? He said, do you recognize that we can participate in activities that would be considered abusive if other people did it? And he was correct. And I've also learned that as psychiatric nurses, we have the opportunity to heal and to help others understand how to be healthy, how to stay healthy, but most of all, how to care and respect themselves and their families, their communities, their culture, their country of origin. I'm sure that you do that too. I wish to thank all of you for the contributions that you've made to improve the human condition and to make this world a better place. It is my privilege, again, to acknowledge and recognize such an august body as all of you are. Thank you for acknowledging my contributions and my struggles, while I at the same time acknowledge your contributions and your struggles as well. And I say thank you. We all must acknowledge that we are part of the human community, and we are also a part of Mother Earth that must be respected and adored. Now I'm going to ask you to take a moment of silence to recognize those people who have toiled, who have struggled, and who've made outstanding contributions. They will never be a legend like me and the rest of you. So I'm going to ask that we take a moment of silence and to acknowledge those people that you know or that you may never know across the world who struggle and toil to improve the human condition. These individuals you may never know, but we can acknowledge their contributions. We can acknowledge how they have influenced others, saved lives, helped the homeless, the war-torn child, families who've been torn apart, etc. As nurses, I acknowledge your courage, I acknowledge your dignity, I acknowledge your struggles, and I ask that you journey on and do the best that you can do every day. But remember to be kind, to respect people's dignity, and always look to the horizon to see what's not there and make something happen in a concrete way. Thank you so very much for the privilege that I have of being honored as a living legend. From a Black woman from rural Florida, this is indeed a different mood state for me. And I thank you. Blessings.
Our final living legend to honor this evening is Dr. Mathy Mezey. Dr. Mezey is a vanguard in the field of aging. She is Professor Emerita, Senior Research Scientist, and current Association and Founding Director of the Hartford Institute of Geriatric Nursing at the New York University Rory Myers College of Nursing. Dr. Mezey has been an incredibly instrumental leader in the fields of nursing ethics and geriatric nursing, spurring important policy change to ensure quality care for older adults. Although her pioneering work spans decades, it could not be more timelier, as globally the aging population is far outpacing younger generations. As noted by NYU in their announcement regarding Dr. Mezey receiving this honor, she was inspired to work with older patients early in her career in the 1960s, working as a public health nurse for the Visiting Nurse Service of New York, as this population epitomized what she liked best about nursing: solving problems that required skill, knowledge, and compassion. Dr. Mezey is quoted to say, "You had to have sympathy and empathy, but you also had to know the science." Dr. Mezey has made it her life's work to ensure that all nurses are prepared to care for this vulnerable population. In partnership with the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, she was a co-director in the development of the national standards for gerontological nurse practitioner education. Dr. Mezey went on to direct AHN's Geriatric Nursing Education Consortium, which involved over half the BSN programs nationally in a 3-year project to strengthen their geriatric curricula. Her book, The Evidence-Based Geriatric Nursing Protocols for Best Practice, has become a staple for geriatric nursing and used by health professionals across health settings. Under her leadership, landmark programs and materials, including evidence-based geriatric nursing practice protocols, a summer research institute, and other training efforts flourished and continued to be utilized today. Dr. Mezey was also a founding director of NISH, Nurses Improving Health Systems to the Elderly, an initiative involving over 700 hospitals nationwide, which was named an Academy Edge Runner in 2022. Her work to improve older adult care has had a lasting impact on the health of patients nationally and have led to federal policy change. In particular, nurse practitioners were granted direct reimbursement by Medicare Part B, ultimately changing the status of advanced practice registered nurses as independent providers. Let us hear more from one of Mathy's sponsors on her lasting contributions.
So have you ever met Matty? Well, if you did, then you'd know that Matty's a living legend. She exudes passion and love for her work, her friends, her family. She is incredibly special, and I had the great privilege of meeting her in the late 1980s when my friend and Maddie's friend, Jack Rowe, said, "Terry, you really ought to meet this very special person." And so the rest is history. So Maddie was one of the first nurses in this country to underscore the need to improve the care for older adults. She wrote one of the first books. She began one of the first programs, and when she went to the University of Pennsylvania from Lehman and joined Claire Fagan, she really put geriatric nursing on the map. Fast forward, she and I worked together at New York University in the Rory Myers College of Nursing, where she led the Hartford Institute for Geriatric Nursing, a very important program for the nation and for the nation's nurses and for all the patients we serve. I'm inspired by her because of the way she is able to synthesize work, love, pray all together, the way that she envelops every group she meets, and the way she gives back messages that let you know that all of us can do better work and our best work. When people think about living legend, everybody says, "I thought she already was." That's how influential she is. She deserves it because she put geriatric nursing on the map. She's mentored legions of nurses, and her impact will be felt long after Maddie's no longer with us.
Thank you so much, everybody. I am so honored to be designated by the American Academy of Nursing as a living legend. Thank you so much. This award is a culmination of a life's work, and it has indeed been an extraordinary and wonderful life. I was born in Belgium in 1938, fled in 1940 at the age of 2 with my parents to England, and arrived in America in 1948 at the age of 10. Quite a journey. My career, as you have heard, has focused on care of older adults and assuring that older adults and their families receive the very best care that they possibly can. When I started this work in early 1960s, actually, I had very few mentors in aging to look up to. One of them was Rita Chow, and it is such an honor to be here with all the other recognized living legends, but especially for me to be here with Rita. My remarks tonight are going to be a shout out to my supporters, many of whom are here tonight. Without them, none of my career would have happened. We all need to be embedded among friends and colleagues. First and most heartfelt thanks to my Living Legends sponsors, Terry Fulmer, Jenny Chin Hanson, and Neville Strumpf, and to Sherry Greenberg, who shepherded us and kept us on point. I couldn't have had a more inspired group of champions. Thank you so much. My extraordinary husband, Andy Mezey, who you saw in those pictures, woo-hoo, who has supported and encouraged my career since it started all those many 65 years ago. I love you, APM. Many of you have heard me say in many meetings around the country that I have the very best long-term care insurance in the world. because I have 4 daughters. They are here tonight, and I would ask them to stand, please, in age order, as I always cite them. Susan, Laura, Judy, Nancy, my daughter-in-law and 5th daughter, Karen, and representing our 9 grandchildren, our granddaughter, Allison. You guys are the best. I've had extraordinary mentors, many of whom are not with us tonight, unfortunately. I particularly want to recognize Claire Fagan, mentor extraordinaire, Diane McGivern, Joan Lionel, who has been mentioned already tonight and was shown in one of the pictures, my partner in the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Teaching Nursing Home Program, and Linda Aiken, a program officer at RWJ at that time, and Ursula Springer, president of Springer Publishing Company. Without their support, this field of geriatric nursing would not have flourished the way it has. The John A. Hartford Foundation is unique as a long-standing champion of geriatrics and geriatric nursing, and many of you in this room are recipients of their support. The past chairman, Norman Volk, and his wife, Alicia, have been steadfast supporters of nursing, and specifically of my career. Alicia Volk is here tonight. Thank you, Alicia, for always showing up, and your smile and your support. Thank you. We started the Hartford Institute for Geriatric Nursing at NYU in 1994. With me from the beginning were Terry Fulmer and Elaine Gould, my partners in crime at the Institute. Elaine, so wonderful for you to be here and share in this award. Also at the Institute, almost from the beginning, were Sarah Berger, Jessica Esterson, and Ab Brody. And I think many of you know Ab's work, but when he started at the Institute, he was a work-study student planning to study medicine. Amazingly, he is now the Matty Mezey Professor of Nursing at NYU. And amazingly, after 30 years of continuous existence, thanks to the outstanding leadership of Tara Cortez, the Hartford Institute remains the most important source of evidence-based geriatric content nationally and internationally. Bravo, Tara. Luckily for us at the Hartford Institute, where we were begging people to be partners with us, often not successfully, the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, AHN, was a willing and enthusiastic champion of the Hartford Institute from the outset. So a heartfelt shout out to Polly Bednash and to Joan Stanley from AHN. Thank you, Joan, for being here. I think you heard that my first clinical job was with the Visiting Nurse Service of New York in the Bronx in New York. Joan Marin was at VNS when I started, and subsequently she became the COO of VNS when I was on their board, and is now president of the Nurses Education Fund, where I'm also on the board right now. So glad you're here, Joan. And finally, Hong Soo Kim, a doctoral student at NYU, and now professor at the Seoul National University in Korea, called me and told me she calls herself my academic daughter. I love that term. It's a great term. And I want to conclude my remarks by recognizing all of my academic daughters and sons in this room and around the country, from NYU and Penn and Case Western Reserve. You are the legacy and the joy of my academic career. Thank you so much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please help us celebrate our newest American Academy of Nursing Living Legends. Their work demonstrates the passion, commitment, and ingenuity of the nursing profession. Their contributions and the dedication they have to the health of the public remind us all of the power that each one of us has to strive for a better tomorrow, and that collectively we can truly make a difference.
Now, in recognition of celebrating nursing excellence for 3 decades with Living Legend designation, I would like to invite all living legends in the audience to join us on the stage for a group photo. We are proud to have 30 living legends with us. So hold your excitement. It might take a little while, a little longer, as we guide everyone up for the photo after the event concludes.
Matty, how you doing? Good.
I don't think I would be who I am today without this field. It has sustained me throughout my career. It has held me together when I have been feeling untogether. And I love it. I love thinking about it. I love taking care of people, and that's who I am. So folks, love what you have in nursing, because you'll never find anything better.
Okay, while they are gathering, it has been an honor for Deborah and I to host you this evening. As our living legends make their way to the stage, let's give all of our living legends of the Academy another round of applause. I think you're gonna have to come go that way. Some of us go over. Yeah, one, yeah. All right. Okay. Well, they're still gathering. everyone. Thank you again for being here. This does conclude our celebration of our living legends. And aren't they indeed a fantastic group of nurse leaders? Thank you again for attending.